I'd like to start with what's your take on the past quarterback protection rules, I should say, protecting quarterbacks against basically innocuous sacks that are turning into flags, becoming kind of controversial. Do you have a take on where the rules are going?
I don't think they can continue to kind of call the things the way they're calling them. I think it's kind of becoming really, really hard for the defensive players to figure out a way to hit the quarterback. You see a guy go down with a serious injury trying to basically do what they want in that rule, which is remove his body. But I think it's something that's really hard to do because that guy, that particular player is like 300 pounds. How do you expect him to stop his momentum when he's driving somebody or hitting somebody into the ground? So I don't know what they're going to do. I hope they do something. I think it's kind of, being made fun of, just how soft it is for, the defensive. Like, we can't touch the quarterback. And I understand, they're trying to make the game safer, but it's still a physical game. And, you have to get the quarterback down. I think there was another play, I think it was in the Green Bay game where he tried to hit the quarterback but didn't want to take him down. Then the quarterback spins out and goes to get the first down. So, we kind of don't know what to do, how you're going to hit the quarterback. But at the end of the day, we're just going to hit him and see whatever the ref calls. So I'm going to hit him. I'm going to hit the quarterback like I've always hit him, and whatever happens, happens.
So there wouldn't be any instance of being gun shy on that one, or maybe slowing down a step, or any thought going through your head as you're closing in?
I'm not. I'm going to, hit the guy like I normally hit the guy. Make sure I'm not hitting him in the head. I'm making sure it's a good tackle, a tackle that I would make on any other person. And, if they call something, they call something. I'll deal with it then. I haven't got called for it. So when it happens to me, if it happens to me, hopefully it doesn't. That's when I'll think about it. But, you're kind of seeing it around the league. But it's not something that us as defenders are not used to. They change the rules every single year, make it harder and harder for defensive players every single year. We adjust. We do a great job at adjusting. And then they're like, okay, well, let's do something else. And so they're going to run out of things to take away. And you might just turn it into a different game then at that point.
Do you guys do anything in practice to try and drill on how to meet the requirements of the rules?
I don't. I'm not worried about it.
In the moment,
hit the guy in the numbers, and I'll make sure he goes down, and I'll make sure they don't get a first down.
sorry, you just answered it. In the moment you're coming free on a quarterback, you know you can't hit him above the shoulders, you know you can't hit him below the waist. There's a small window. Is the numbers the key? Is that what's in your mind, is hit the numbers?
No, I'm just thinking hit the guy. Like, I'm not, all the thought process stuff, like, I think that's what, his point, like, we do drill how to tackle, and I always use my shoulder, and I always, do things like that. So that's become second nature. So I allow things that I always do to happen. So when I hit a quarterback, I know not to hit him in the head. I know where I want to hit him. I know I want to hit him with my shoulder. And so I just do that. Now, whatever happens after that, like, I'm not paying attention to where my body falls, because I think it's hard to figure out where my body's going to land on any given play. But then again, what if the quarterback tries to run me over? Then what do? Do I set him down nicely, or do I pick him up? I mean, I feel like most defensive players are stronger than the quarterback, so it's probably easy to pick them up. So I'm going to just do that.
Bobby, when you think about this venue that you're playing in this weekend, do you think of Beast Quake 2.0, or do you think about the Super Bowl or the tie or Sherm and Cam going out in the same game? I mean, funky things seem to happen in the stadium almost every year.
I didn't think about none of that until you brought it up. So I think maybe something better is going to happen when we play. I haven't thought about none of that. I just know that Arizona is close to home, so I'm playing on the West Coast.
What do you remember about that game last year?
When we were down there, wasn't at the game. Sherm got hurt and Cam. So, I mean, you remember that. You remember Sherm going down. You remember him, you know, walking off. You know, nobody, you know, when you get an injury like that, you typically don't walk off. So I think Kobe and him were the two guys that did that. So that's a pretty good person to be with. But, I mean, it's an unfortunate thing. It's part of the game, and, you know, it kind of is what it is.
There's so many things that are different about this Cardinals team. What's the biggest thing?
Difference? You know, the quarterbacks, you know, that's different. But at the end of the day, I feel like they got a good back there. So, you know, you got to give them the ball. And so that's kind of what I'm expecting them to do, expecting them to give him the ball, especially, you know, you bring the rookie in. You're not going to put the game, you know, solely on his shoulders. You're going to lean on, you know, 3-1 a little bit more. You know, I think the games that they played, you know, the games were so kind of lopsided. It kind of forced them to be in a passing situation. So we're hoping that continues to happen with us too.
Got a running back like David Johnson, or one of these guys that you have seen a couple of times a year over a few years. How much easier does it make it? I know the tackling part you still have to execute, but just tendencies and tells and styles of bringing down.
Yeah, you just kind of know what style and what, you know, where he's going to be, what they're going to try to do. He's a guy that they move all over the place. You know, he's not just the downhill runner. They like to get him out on the passes and things of that nature. So it's just a guy you got to, you know, keep your eye on. But, you know, when you play him a lot, you kind of get a feel on, you know, how he runs the ball, you know, what he likes to do, how he likes to make defenders miss and things like that. So, you know, when you play a guy like that over and over and over again, you get a feel for the style of, you know, how he want to make you miss, when he want to try to run you over, when he want to try to run away from you. And so from that standpoint, it becomes a little easier to understand, like, things that he's going to do. And then you watch film and, okay, like maybe he got you on the spin move, so maybe he might try to run you over this time. So you kind of have a thought process of you know, what he could be thinking.
Jaron Reed had a couple of sacks last week. Just as somebody playing behind him, kind of seeing what he does. Just how have you seen him develop?
He's been great, not just on the field, but just as a leader. You know, he's been more vocal. You know, he's coming to work every single day. You know, you see him try to, you could tell he's been studying the game because he's trying to, you know, call out plays and things that he wasn't really doing when he first got here. So you just see the growth from day one to now. You know, he's in the backfield a lot. You know, got 2 sacks. And so, you know, he just put in work. You know, that's what happens when you put in work.
As a guy who's been around Earl for so long, played with him for so long, what's your take on his current mental state? And do you think he'll be able to put aside whatever dissatisfaction he has with his contract and play like he did on Sunday and keep doing it?
I mean, you got 3 picks in 3 games, so my easy answer to that is yes. You know, I think he's a baller, and that's what he does. At the end of the day, it's going to be a bunch of stuff that happens during the week, and you know, the great ones are able to put that aside and come out and play and don't let, whether it's being sick, whether it's being issues, whether it's being whatever. When it comes time for a game, they come and they play, and that's what Earl does. And so that's what I expect from him. I know it's a lot of stuff going on each week, but you know, when it's Sunday and I see 2-9 out there, I expect him to be where he's supposed to be and make the plays he's supposed to make.
You guys care whether he practices during the week?
I mean, I think that's more so him. You know, I think there's guys that practice that don't practice because of their body. And so, you know, we don't say nothing to them when they don't practice because they're trying to heal. So I can't tell a person how they feel. I can't tell a person what's going on with them. So if it happens, it happens to me. Like, it's not a thing. You got to take care of your body, you got to take care of your body. If like last year, you know, when I was going through my hamstring stuff, I wasn't practicing. You know, would they look at me a different way because I wasn't practicing? But I was, you know, giving you my all when I came out on Sunday. So that's kind of how I look at it.
What was the biggest thing you lost by not being able to practice during that stretch?
I don't know if I lost anything. I think it's just more so being able to get the reps, being able to be out there. But I think at the end of the day, like when I knew I wasn't practicing, I knew I had to step up like my film study. I had to make sure I was on it. I had to make sure I was like super locked in practice because I wasn't getting those reps. So I had to be a visual learner and visualize myself in those certain plays. And I had to watch the practices, probably more than once just to make sure I understood, what was going on. So it's more of a mental thing. And I think as you get older, it's going to be mental anyway. So it was just an opportunity to grow.
You guys forced, I think, 23 turnovers last year. You're on pace for about 40 this year. What's been the difference? Oh, that's nice.
I don't know. I think we were just going after the ball. I think Coach Norton just, he brings a certain energy, and I feel like we feed off that energy. And I think that's kind of what we had. Those years we had coaches that brought a lot of energy. Not to say that the coaches that we had before didn't. You guys been around the guy. He's very energetic. So I think it's that type of energy. Us being more mindful of it. And, just creating a competition, like who can get the most. And, we'll see. Hopefully we get to 40, like you say.
You guys played Cardinals last year and lost when Drew Stanton was at quarterback. Where does that rank in terms of galling defeats?
I don't know. I don't really think about defeats. I remember more of the wins than I do the losses. So I don't know.
You see a rookie quarterback like Rosen, whatever. You haven't seen a big sample size of him. And Pete Carroll said earlier in the week that sometimes that's a wild card because you don't know exactly what you're going to get. But do you, as a middle linebacker, do your eyes light up like we got a little young guy in here that we can take advantage of?
Oh, for sure. You seem confident too. So, it kind of depends on the situation. When you see a young quarterback and no running back, then it's like, okay, you kind of don't know. But when you see a young quarterback and they got a running back, they're not going to put the ball in the quarterback hands, in my opinion. Like from the teams that I play, they always, try to get them the quick, the quick passes, the quick things to get them into a rhythm, and they give that back the ball. And that's what I expect them to do is give them the ball, especially because he hasn't really got too many touches over these games. So I expect them to, I believe that's their best player. So you got to give your best player the ball, and he'll make the plays when he makes the plays. But if they let me blitz. I love to hit them, and I'll figure out how to, set them down nicely. Yeah, I know y'all seen those videos with the little pillow, and maybe I'll bring a pillow out there. I don't know.
Anything else? Thanks, Bobby.
All right.